Hello everyone, and in my previous video I promised you to break down all of the most recent lies and manipulation from invisible narratives. And that's exactly what I will do today. In case you don't know, they literally created the website titled Bring Boom Back, just to mock those ST fans who are still furious over Inviz being shameless frauds that stole everything from Boom and kicked him out of his own YouTube channel and social media accounts. So if you'll visit this site, you'll find just piles of cherry-picked information and leaked private messages from Boom, and I am sure he didn't consent to any of it at all. And meanwhile, some other YouTubers like Iron Cameraman are already preparing new ways to expose Inviz in the public eye. I'm going to focus on what exactly Inviz leaked, what is true and what's not, who is in the right or in the wrong here, and most importantly, what we as a fandom can do about it. So without any further ado, let's break this thing down. So on the 4th of April, Inviz made a message to the community in a form of an incredibly long article consisting of several sections. And in this video, I'll break down every section in the same order so that you wouldn't get confused at what's going on. So in the intro, Inviz claimed that recent discussions about Skibidi Toilet, Alexei Gerasimov, aka Boom, and their own company are all based on misinformation and speculation. They also say they stayed mostly silent for over 100 days after receiving negative feedback, pausing content to listen to the community. According to them, confusion grew because Alexei became less publicly active, leading fans to blame Inviz. They argue that many accusations are false and state that they are now responding by providing proof and context to address those claims. Now, what proofs are they actually providing on this webpage? In the proof section, Invisible Narratives state that they have a legitimate business agreement with Alexei, but many details are hidden due to confidentiality clauses. They also claim that they're willing to reveal the agreement, including payment, ownership, and roles, if Alexei gives written consent. They present this as an effort toward transparency and say they will share selected screenshots as proof of their partnership. According to them, these excerpts are meant to counter rumors and show that decisions including ownership changes and Alexei's role within the company, as well as prove that their relationships were voluntary and collaborative, not forced or hidden. And before we'll go to the leaked messages that Inviz cherry-picked and used in their manipulations, let me break down this information to you and why all of what I just read to you is a huge pile of BS. We have so many proofs that Boom was deeply unhappy, frustrated, and creatively limited when he started working with Inviz officially a few years ago. If you're an old fan of Skibidi Toilet, then you know that after 2022, Boom was caught in a really tight and unnerving spot, when he had to deal with several very serious issues all at once. First of all, his channel was attacked by Russian Telegram mafia hackers several times, and I've made a few videos on that. Those hackers were trying to claim that Skibidi Toilet was their brand, and they sent strikes back and right from Boom's fake name, which was literally ruining Boom's reputation in the entertainment industry. He also got a few of his own ST episodes deleted from his channel, and he had to literally fight with YouTube in order to bring them back. And second of all, Boom was also under the pressure of what has been going on outside of YouTube. Russia declared the war on Ukraine, and Boom wanted to move to another country ASAP to keep working, but he had issues with visa and international passport. And that's when Inviz came into play. They learned that Boom was in a really difficult life situation, and they, Adam Goodman in particular, realized that they could trick Boom into signing a contract to work with them and sell them the rights to Skibidi Toilet brand. Why did Boom do so? Because he was young and inexperienced. Before Skibidi Toilet blew up, he was just a regular guy. In the meantime, Inviz positioned themselves as a serious elite company with lots of connections in Hollywood. They promised Boom two things. They'll help him migrate and settle down in USA, and they'll protect Skibidi Toilet brand legally from the attacks of various frauds and scammers like Russian Telegram mafia. So, did Inviz fulfill any of these promises after Boom sold them the rights to ST brand? Nada. So naturally, Boom started to get more and more desperate while working with Inviz, and we have a lot of screenshots proving that. For example, this screenshot that IBO75 provided from one of his private conversations with Boom, where Alexei implied that he heavily regrets working with people he's tied with now, and he's very frustrated and sad all the time. Or his infamous public statements about him not being able to connect to Michael Bay in order to literally check what state Skibidi Toilet movie is in. as he, the creator of the series, has no idea whether it's actually coming out or not. And do you guys remember what happened next? Boom was forced to quickly delete those tweets as if such misunderstanding has never happened. And he then quickly told his fans that he and Inviz talked everything through, and the issue is resolved now. Yeah, it's so beautifully resolved that no signs of ST movie are present anywhere, and everyone has already forgotten about it, even Michael Bay himself. Oh yeah, and here's another lie from Inviz that I want to point out in this video. When they promised Boom connections with real Hollywood and Transformers maker Michael Bay in particular, they shamelessly lied to. All that just to get from Boom rights to Skibidi Toilet brand while promising to release a Hollywood level of standard movie, which of course will never get released. And Michael Bay isn't even a part of Invisible Narratives, so naturally he owns nothing to Boom and his series. If we'll check the actual state of Inviz as a company on their site, we'll see that their biggest project throughout their whole creative life was, yes, Skibidi Toilet brand ownership. Ah yeah, and a movie about Ice Spice which no one has ever seen. What a career, what Hollywood ties, y'all. No wonder that Boom literally got depressed as he started working with them and realized what mess he found himself in. We also shouldn't forget that Boom was tied with contracts obligations not to reveal anything bad about Invisible Narratives Company and their CEO or employees. So Boom had no other choice but to delete all of his frustrations publicly and keep it silent. So whatever Inviz are trying to say in order to make it seem as if Boom's inactivity on the internet and silence is his choice and whatever, it's 100% bollocks. And here's what I also think is a total BS. Leaking Boom's private messages in order to defend your evil company. Inviz are so funny claiming that they're not going to leak Boom's contract without his written consent. But it didn't stop them from leaking his messages, did it? They're shady as hell, and all they're pursuing with this site is trying to get public onto their side, even if their defensive mechanism is built on lies and manipulating words and presenting them out of the context. Okay, so in ownership and structure section, Invisible Narratives claim that Alexei originally transferred Skibidi Toilet rights to them in 2023 under a revocable deal, meaning he could take them back. They say they helped build the business side while he focused on creating content. In 2025, Alexei allegedly chose to make the deal permanent, with legal guidance, and was well compensated. Inviz denies any coercion, insisting the decision was voluntary and that Alexei intended to stay actively involved as a partner. And now let's take a look at the messages with Boom that Inviz leaked in order to proof what just has been said. So in this screenshot, Boom is shown sharing that his travel passport has not been ready yet, but he still keeps his hopes high because of the Michael Bay collaboration Inviz promised him earlier, so he's ready to sign the sheets. So, what this screenshot can prove, other than Boom really put him trust in Adam Goodman and received lies and takeover of his brand in return. As a matter of fact, all that this screenshot is proving to me that Boom really wanted to have a reliable company to help him produce the series in the really heated time when he needed support the most. And if we'll remember what happened to Skibidi Toilet Legacy by 2026 after this decision, Inviz literally did not provide the support that Boom was seeking, as well as paying him his damn money too, but later about that. Then in the next section, Inviz is trying to say that Boom was actively involved in the Emergence project, like reviewing cuts, giving feedback, and monitoring audience reactions. They claim most of his suggestions were implemented, and that the series was a collaborative effort with a larger production scale, which made it feel different from the original. After fans criticized the result, Inviz attempted to improve it with a new trailer. But due to continued backlash, they decided to pause the project. And in the provided messages, we can indeed see that Boom was giving a pretty positive feedback to what he was given. And here's when it gets tricky. I am following the ongoing situation with Boom and Inviz for a really long time, like almost 4 years, y'all. So I know how this company functions and what toxicity exists behind its closed doors. In the multiple interactions between Inviz and ST fans, we could clearly see that Inviz's CEO and his right-hand David accepts no bad feedback whatsoever, as they are open to glazing only. They refuse to believe that bad feedback might even exist, and they do everything in their powers to blame the fact that the Emergence flopped either on fans, ST YouTubers and bloggers, anyone but themselves. Where am I leading with this? Boom worked with these guys for several years, and I am 100% sure that he's aware how badly or passive-aggressively they may react to any sort of honest feedback he'd give them in regards to Emergence's quality. And what is even more important, I am sure he knew that even if he'd fairly criticized their project, they'd do nothing to improve it. Instead, Inviz producers would only do their hardest to make the criticizing person to admit that he is wrong and Inviz are right. That's why Boom's feedback is actually reminding a ChatGPT response. Nothing but sunshine and positivity. But if you'll get deeper under his responses, you'll find actual layers of really sad and unsettling stuff. And by the way, I want to talk more about this paragraph from Inviz. Some of you said Emergence didn't feel like classic Skibidi, and we took that seriously. The issues were clear. The models needed refinement, the animation needed more time, and the storytelling wasn't fully there. 2 weeks later, we released a trailer that reflected your feedback and also demonstrated the direction we were building towards. However, the reaction was still intense, so we decided to pause Emergence entirely. So, you literally scrapped the whole project that was supposed to pay salaries of a lot of people right away. No attempts to improve, change directions, come back to the old visual style of ST series? Nah, screw it. We received some criticism, so we ain't animating anything now. We're just feeding off old episodes' views, selling our crappy merch, and acting as if everything was our fans' fault, not ours. Do you guys see what I meant by Inviz being literally allergic to reacting to healthy criticism and improving, instead of acting passive-aggressive and victim-blaming? That is exactly what I was talking about. Then Inviz briefly addressed the shift from SFM to Unreal, and they once again are trying to say that Boom was approving their decision to do so. Thus, they are blameless, and their quality is not for criticism, right? Well, no, that's just another pile of BS, and for the same reason I explained above. Obviously, Boom wouldn't want to spend his time and energy arguing with Inviz's executives on something they have already decided to proceed with anyway. So why bother? Also, I found it pretty funny how Boom told in his message to stop, wander around, and show confidence. I think it has a vague vibe of something like, get a grip and start actually make something good. But nah, Inviz just shut everything down instead. Okay, and now we're moving to the most controversial part of this entire statement. And it's, why hasn't Boom spoken about any of this? Inviz's version. For this section, they leaked a lot of Boom's private messages. And you know what? Let's actually talk about it for a sec because I'm pissed. Let's make it clear. Boom did not give any permission to leak his messages publicly, for obvious reasons. Boom's lips are literally sealed with contract, so he can't confirm nor disapprove anything that Inviz would try to claim while using his messages brought out of context. So Inviz is in a win-win situation regardless of public response, and Boom is meant to be misunderstood and even discredited in any freaking outcome possibility. So leaking Boom's messages means hurting his privacy, violating his trust, and showcasing how crappy and ego-central Inviz's CEO and his minions actually are. So yeah, leaking Boom's messages is the lowest of lows Inviz could do, and of course they did it. And now, as I made myself clear, let's analyze how exactly Inviz are trying to manipulate you guys right at this moment with those messages. In the statement from Inviz, the following phrase is shown. Some assumed we asked him to stay quiet, but the opposite is true. We encouraged him to speak, at the very least to trusted creators who were amplifying the misinformation. First of all, what beautiful omitting of any context whatsoever. To cut it short, Inviz screw up in every possible direction. They failed to deliver qualitative content. They broke the trust of both Boom and ST fans. They showed hostility to 99% of ST YouTubers. They lied about Michael Bay making a Hollywood ST movie. And they made a horrible, ugly rebrand that made hundreds of thousands of people to unfollow the channel. What they do next? They creep into Boom's DMs and plea him to tell the fans that everything is great. Or basically, they ask him to cover their sorry, In this screenshot, we can see Adam literally threatening Boom to not use his silence against them. Otherwise, they wouldn't be friends anymore. Oh, how cute! That's my dream work partners, y'all. Then Adam urges Boom to reach out to Iron Cameraman, IBO75, and Zach Dorr privately and tell them clearly that you're fine, that you weren't robbed, and that they're wrong about what happened. And you know what this message actually means? It means, tell that you're not a victim and everything is perfect, or else. So they wanted Boom to straight up lie to the creators that were concerned about him and his brand under Inviz's pressure. But guess what? What Boom says in response to them basically is, "You have your PR specialists, so use them, not me, and leave me alone." And here's what other interesting detail I found in his response. Here Boom says a pretty cocky line. "I really can't do private outreach to creators or fans. You know as well as I do how unpredictable and intense this community may be. Didn't I tell you that these fans are crazy sometimes? Private messages can get leaked, twisted, or turned into something else, and that creates a whole different chaos." Oops, foreshadowing from Boom, y'all? Here's what I think. Boom actually knew that Inviz would go as far as leaking any of his private messages without his consent in order to prove their own agenda. He also knew he couldn't possibly prevent this, but at least he could refuse playing along with Adam Goodman and his lies, and literally imply that his messages can get leaked and twisted. And that's exactly what happened. But Inviz were too dense to even realize Boom's sense of humor. He played them, y'all. Then we can see Adam getting really nasty in the follow-up message, and I mean, he straight up starts cussing out Boom. We can see him saying, "I expected so much more of you. Grow up and stop being such a troll." Excuse me? Mind you, Boom was always incredibly polite and professional with Adam and Inviz's workers in all of the messages that were shown, while Adam was acting wildly unprofessional and rude. And also, maybe it's a minor issue, but I also couldn't ignore the fact that 90% of Goodman's replies are literally AI generated. I feel like taking crazy pills just by reading his stuff. Bro was literally threatening Boom with ChatGPT narrative. Do you guys realize now where all of Iron Cameraman's jokes about AI positivity in Inviz messages come from? Once again, what a dream partner, huh? He got so mad at Boom because our GOAT refused to cover his sorry, and Boom didn't change his stance by this moment. And I also noticed how Boom was literally poking Adam with his AI responses, because Boom's replies are so overtly positive, cutesy, and filled with emojis. Man knows his game. I'm so proud of him just by looking at this words fight with Goodman. He just refused to be a pawn in Inviz's desperate media play. He accepted that he lost his brand to a bunch of useless frauds that only want to milk his channel dry for money while not paying Boom himself a dime. I mean, if it happened to me, I'd be depressed as hell. But Boom actually decided to move on. So now he's got another channel titled DoorCloser. He's making his new Human Being series, and he's creative again. Once again, W Boom. And while he is still trying to live his best life despite being literally robbed of his Skibidi Toilet channel and brand, Inviz are still agonizing and trying to picture themselves as nice guys. Why? Because Adam Goodman and his friends are hopeless narcissists that crave that public validation no matter how absurd it is. So here's my way to end this video. Screw Adam Goodman and his sorry hell of a company. Screw their manipulative statement that literally broke Boom's boundaries. And yeah, that's all I wanted to show you today, folks. That's not even everything in the statement from Inviz that I covered, because this video was turning out long enough already. So if more information or tea comes out, I'll do a follow-up video. It was ISOTOILET. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, support New Boom's channel DoorCloser, give a watch to his new Human Being show, and I wish the best to y'all. See ya!